अष्टोत्तरशतश्रीमद् श्रील भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्रीमद् श्रील भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्रीमद् श्रील भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्रीमद् श्रील भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्रीमद् श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोरक्षरदास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्रील जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौरिय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गोपाल पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदाते गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्यामा कुंड की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Tandava pranams Karkaraji, Rup Manjari Didi, and Raseshwari Mataji, Haribo. Okay, oh wait, did I show my screen? Oh God, I'm so spaced out. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Narayana Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Itadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Tvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedustang Sarva Bhuta Hridayamuni Manatosmi. Narayanam Namaskritam Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Shinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Kritantasto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Shiptashtakama Ditaram Kamadhe Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanai Ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu, if you send me, I actually can't see your name. It just says Facebook user, so I don't know who this is. Anybody who watches on the Gaudiya Kirtan live group, it doesn't show me their name for some reason. So, but if you just send me a private message, I will send you the PDF of the book that I'm using. Dandavat pranams Ganga Didi and Rup Manjari Didi and Madhavi Didi. Dandavat pranams. Yeah, so if anybody wants this PDF here with all the diagrams and everything, send me a private message and I'll send you the link. So yesterday we read the first half of this chapter, the subterranean heavenly planets, and I'll just go over what we read yesterday. Planets below the sun and above the earth, Bhuvarlok. So we're in Bhulok, this is Bhuvarlok, just above Bhulok. So Rahu is 10 ky below the sun. 10 ky below the sun is the planet Rahu. And K stands for 1,000, right? So it says 10,000 yojanas below the sun is the planet Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of that planet, Rahu, the son of Singhika, although the most abominable of all asuras, has achieved that position by the Lord's grace. The sun globe, the moon, and the Rahu planet extend for 10,000 yojanas, 20,000 yojanas, 20,000 yojanas, and 30,000 yojanas respectively. Rahu, being inimical towards the sun and the moon, attacks them on the full and dark moon days. Hearing of the attack of Rahu, the Supreme Lord engages his Sudarshan chakra to protect the sun and the moon. The intense heat of its effulgence, when it is rotating for 48 minutes, one muhurta, is unbearable to Rahu, and he therefore flees in fear of it. People say that this is an eclipse. Hari Bol Prajuna Prabhu Dandavat Pranams. Oh, Raghava Pandit Prabhu. Cool. Okay. Yes, I will send to you. Yeah, I scanned the book. So, okay. So Sudaloka, Charanaloka, and Vidyadharaloka are situated 10,000 yojanas below Rahu. Beneath Vidyadharaloka, Charanaloka, and Siddhaloka is the sky called Antariksha. It's outer space. There are places of enjoyment for the yakshas, rakshasas, pishachas, ghosts, and so on. It extends in a downward direction as far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Limits of Bhumandal. Bhumandal, earth, is 100 yojanas below the abodes of the yakshas and rakshasas. Its upper limits extend as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large birds can fly. This describes the upper limit of Purloka. Now the opulence of Bilaswarga, the planets below the earth. These are the most interesting ones, I think. Below the surface of Bhumandal are the 7 lower planets situated within the hollow cavities of the earth, known as Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. Each has a width length, and height of 10,000 yojanas. And let's just see, there's a chart here. See, look, there's Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. Lower planetary systems. Okay. Uh-oh, I forgot which verse. What? Okay. In the subterranean heavens, known as Bilaswarga, there are beautiful horses, gardens, and places of sense enjoyment, more opulent than those in the higher planets. Most of the residents of Bilaswarga, known as the Daitas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Their wives, children, friends, and society are all fully engaged in illusory material happiness, with desires more unimpeded than in heaven. So there's more enjoyment in the subterranean heavenly planets than there are in the heavenly planets. Maya Danava, an expert artist and architect, has constructed many brilliant cities there, with wonderful houses, walls, gates, assembly houses, temples, yards, and resting places. The houses for the leaders are constructed with the most valuable jewels, and they are always crowded with nagas and asuras, as well as many pigeons, parrots, and similar birds. You can imagine how beautiful it is if Maya Danava, who is like the uh, what do you say, constructor, what do you say, carpenter, constructor, whatever, architect, that's the word, architect of the entire universe. This is his place, his domain. The parks and gardens surpass the beauty of those in the heavenly planets. The trees embraced by creepers, bent with the burden of twigs with fruits and flowers, attract anyone and make his mind fully blossom in the pleasure of sense gratification. The lakes and reservoirs with clear water are agitated by jumping fish and are decorated with many flowers such as lilies, kuvalayas, kahlaras, and blue and red lotuses. The pairs of chakravakas and other water birds nest in the lakes and always enjoy, making sweet, pleasing vibrations that give sensual pleasure. Since there is no sunshine there, time is not divided into days and nights, and consequently, fear produced by time does not exist. The gems on the heads of the great serpents drive away all darkness. There's no sun there, it's only the gems which gives light everywhere. By taking elixirs and juices made from divine herbs, the residents do not experience anxiety, disease, gray hair, wrinkles, invalidity, discoloration of the body, foul perspiration, or fatigue, lack of energy or enthusiasm, due to old age. They don't experience none of that. Living comfortably, they do not fear death from anything but the Lord's effulgence called the Sudarshan Chakra. The pregnant wives of the demons all have miscarriages due to fear of its effulgence. Atal. Okay, so what was that? That was... Oh, I thought that was Atal, what we just read about. No, that's Bilaswarga. God. Okay, now Atal Vital. Atal. Bala, the son of Mayadanava, resides here. He created 96 kinds of mystic power, which some so-called yogis and swamis use to cheat people. 3 kinds of women were created simply by his yawning. These are the 3 kinds of women. The Swaidinis, they marry men from their own group. The Kamanis, they marry men from any group. And the Pungschalis, they change husbands one after another. Enjoyment by the women. When a man enters their houses, these women make him fit with hataka, an intoxicating beverage, and enjoy with him. Drinking hataka, the man, thinking he has a strength of 10,000 elephants, as if blind with intoxication, thinks himself God. And Vitala, it's planet below Atala. Lord Shiva, the master of gold mines, Hatekeshwar, lives here with his wife, personal associates, the ghosts, and similar living entities. I thought it said Hataka is cannabis. And when we're reading in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Does anybody remember that? Anyways. That would make sense. Hatakeshwar. I don't know. I'll have to look at verse 17 after. Shiva engages in sex with Bhavani to produce progeny, and from the mixture of their vital fluid, the river named Hataki is generated. When Agni, ablaze by the wind, drinks this river and then sizzles and spits it out, it produces gold called Hataka. Okay, so the intoxication and the gold that comes out is the same thing. The demons, not the same thing, has the same name. The demons who live on that planet with their wives decorate themselves with various ornaments made from that gold. Oh God, that's so funny. Fascinating, that's all I'll say. Okay, so let's see. Previous verse. See, look. These women immediately capture him and induce him to drink an intoxicating beverage made with a drug known as hataka, cannabis indica. Cannabis indica means just cannabis, right? Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm totally wasting time right now. Okay, let's go. Yeah, marijuana, cannabis indica. Okay. Okay, so this is, now we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam now. Text 18. Tato dastat sutale udara shava punya shloka virochanatmajo balir bhagavata mahendrasya priyam chikir shamanenaditer labdha kayo bhutva vatu vamana rupena parakshipta lokatrayo bhagavar anukampayaiva puna praveshita indradish vavidyamanaya susamriddhaya shriyabhijushta swadharmenaradhayangs tang eva bhagavantam aradhaniyam apagata sadhavasa aste dhunati. Below the planet Dvitala is another planet known as Sutala, where the great son of Maharaj Virochan, Bali Maharaj, who is celebrated as the most pious king, resides even now. For the welfare of Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Vishnu, appeared in the form of a dwarf brahmachari as the son of Aditi and tricked Bali Maharaj by begging for only 3 paces of land, but taking all the 3 worlds. Being very pleased with Bali Maharaj for giving him all his possessions, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent King Indra. Even now, Bali Maharaj engages in devotional service by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the planet of Sutala. So if I was in any of the lower planets, I would either want to be in Vitala or Sutala. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as Uttama Shloka, he who is worshipped by the best of selected Sanskrit verses. And his devotees, such as Bali Maharaj, are always worshipped by Punya Shloka. Sorry, did I say always? I meant to say also worshipped by Punya Shloka, verses that increase one's piety. Bali Maharaj offered everything to the Lord, his wealth, his kingdom, and even his own body. Sarvatma Nivedane Bali. The Lord appeared before Bali Maharaj as a Brahmin beggar, and Bali Maharaj gave him everything he had. However, Bali Maharaj did not become poor. By donating all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became a successful devotee and got everything back again with the blessings of the Lord. Similarly, those who give contributions to expand the activities of the Krishna consciousness movement and to accomplish its objectives will never be losers. They will get their wealth back with the blessings of Lord Krishna. On the other side, those who collect contributions on behalf of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness should be very careful not to use even a farthing of the collection for any purpose other than the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Oh, that's an important instruction. I'll add this to my... Forgot to do that. I wanted to, in every reading, get one instruction. One instruction to try to follow. Okay. Na evaitat shakshatkaro bhumi danasya yattar bhagavatyashesha jiva nikayanam jiva bhutatma bhute paramatmani vasudeve tirtatame patra upapanne paraya shraddhaya paramadhara samahita manasa sampratipadittasya shakshar apavarga dvarasya yar bila nilayashvaryam. My dear king, Bali Maharaj donated all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamandev. But one should certainly not conclude that he achieved his great worldly opulence in Bilaswarga as a result of his charitable disposition. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of life for all living entities, lives within everyone as the friendly supersoul, and under his direction, a living entity enjoys or suffers in the material world. Greatly appreciating the transcendental qualities of the Lord, Bali Maharaj offered everything at his lotus feet. His purpose, however, was not to gain anything material, but to become a pure devotee. For a pure devotee, the door of liberation is automatically opened. One should not think that Bali Maharaj was given so much material opulence merely because of his charity. When one becomes a pure devotee in love, he may also be blessed with a good material position by the will of the Supreme Lord. However, one should not mistakenly think that the material opulence of a devotee is the result of his devotional service. The real result of devotional service is the awakening of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which continues under all circumstances. I'm going to try to read deeper from now on. Tell me if you like that better. Yesterday I had to do some voiceover work and I noticed that I speak really high normally, and so I'm going to try to... Yasya hivava kshuta patana praskalanadisho vivasha sakrin nama bigrinan purusha karma bandhanam anjasa vidhunoti yasya haiva pratibandhanam mumukshavo nyataiva palabhate. Palabhante. Can you hear that outside? If one who is embarrassed by hunger, or who falls down or stumbles, if that person chants the holy name of the Lord even once, willingly or unwillingly, he is immediately freed from the reactions of his past deeds. Karmis entangled in material activities face many difficulties in the practice of mystic yoga and other endeavors to achieve that same freedom. So I got distracted. Karmis entangled in the material. Okay. Purport. It is not a fact that one has to suffer his material possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be liberated before he can engage in devotional service. A devotee automatically attains liberation without separate endeavors. Bali Maharaj did not get back all his material possessions merely because of his charity to the Lord. One who becomes a devotee, free from material desires and motives, regards all opportunities, both material and spiritual, as benedictions from the Lord, and in this way his service to the Lord is never hampered. Bhukti, material enjoyment, and mukti, liberation, are only byproducts of devotional service. A devotee need not work separately to attain mukti. Srila Bilvamangal Thakur has said, Mukti swayam mukulitanjali sevate sman. A pure devotee of the Lord does not have to endeavor separately for mukti, because mukti is always ready to serve him. In this regard, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 3, 177 to 188 describes Haridas Thakur's confirmation of the effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Keho bole nama hoite hoi papa koi, keho bole nama hoite jiver moksha hoi. Some say that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from the reactions of sinful life, and others say that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one attains liberation from material bondage. Haridasa kohe namer e dui phalanoi, namer phale Krishna pade prema upajai. Haridas Thakur, however, said that the desired result of chanting the holy name of the Lord is not that one is liberated from material bondage or freed from the reactions of sinful life. The actual result of chanting the holy name of the Lord is that one awakens his dormant Krishna consciousness, his loving service to the Lord. Anushangika fal namer mukti papanash, tahara drishtanta jaiche suryara prakash. Haridas Thakur said that liberation and freedom from the reactions of sinful activities are only byproducts of chanting the holy name of the Lord. If one chants the holy name of the Lord purely, he attains the platform of loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, Haridas Thakur gave an example of comparing the power of the holy name to sunshine. E shloker artha koro panditera gan, sabe kohe tumi koho artha vivaran. He placed the verse before all the learned scholars present, but the learned scholars asked him to state the purport of the verse. Haridasa kohen jache suryera uday, uday na hoite arambe tamer hoik shoy. Haridas Thakur said that as the sun begins to rise, it dissipates the darkness of night, even before the sunshine is visible. That's the Arunodoy. Chaura, not the Suryadoy. Chaura preta raksha dira bhoy hoy nash, uday hoyle dharmas karma adi parakash. Before the sunrise even takes place, the light of dawn destroys the fear of the dangers of the night, such as disturbances by thieves, ghosts, and rakshasas. And when the sunshine actually appears, one engages in his duties. Aiche namo dayarambe papa adirakshoy, uday koile Krishna pade hoy premodoy. Similarly, even before one's chanting of the holy name is pure, one is freed from all sinful reactions, and when he chants purely, he becomes a lover of Krishna. Mukti tucha pala hoy nama bhasa hoite, je mukti bhakta na loy, se Krishna chahe dite. A devotee never accepts mukti, even if Krishna offers it. Mukti, freedom from all sinful reactions, is obtained even by namabhas, or a glimpse of the holy light, or a glimpse of the light of the holy name before its full light is perfectly visible. The Namabhas stage is between that of Nam Aparad, or the chanting of the holy name with offenses, and pure chanting. There are 3 stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord. In the first stage, one commits 10 kinds of offenses while chanting. In the next stage, Namabhas, the offenses have almost stopped, and one is coming to the platform of pure chanting. In the third stage, when one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses, his dormant love for Krishna immediately awakens. This is perfection. Tadbhaktanam atmavatam sarvesham atmanyatmada atmatayaiva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, sells himself to his devotees such as Narad Muni. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great self-realized mystic yogis such as the 4 Kumaras also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the Supersoul within themselves. Purport. The Lord became Bali Maharaja's doorkeeper, not because of his giving everything to the Lord, but because of his exalted position as a lover of the Lord. So just giving everything is not enough. We have to actually love the Lord. Navai Bhagavan Nunam Amushyanujagraha Yar Uta Punar Atmanusmriti Moshanam Maya Bhogaishwaryam Evatanu Teti. The Supreme Personality of Godhead did not award his mercy to Bali Maharaj by giving him material happiness and opulence, for these make one forget loving service to the Lord. The result of material opulence is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh, this verse doesn't make me happy. Purport. There are 2 kinds of opulence. One which results from one's karma is material, whereas the other is spiritual. A surrendered soul who fully depends upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not want material opulence for sense gratification. Therefore, when a pure devotee is seen to possess exalted material opulence, it is not due to his karma. Rather, it is due to his bhakti. In other words, he is in that position because the Supreme Lord wants him to execute service to him very easily and opulently. The special mercy of the Lord for the neophyte devotee is that he becomes materially poor. This is the Lord's mercy, because if a neophyte devotee becomes materially opulent, he forgets the service of the Lord. However, if an advanced devotee is favored by the Lord with opulence, it is not material opulence, but a spiritual opportunity. Material opulence offered to the demigods causes forgetfulness of the Lord, but opulence was given to Bali Maharaj for continuing service to the Lord, which was free from any touch of Maya. Okay. Never mind. Yatar Bhagavatanad. Bhagavatanadhigatanyopayena Yachna Chalena Pahrita Swa Shariravasheshita Lokatrayo Varuna Pashais Cha Samprati Mukto Giri Daryam Chapa Vidha Iti Huvacha. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, he adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the 3 worlds, begging just 3 steps of land. But with those 2 steps, he took away the 3 worlds. Thus, only his body was left. But the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him in a cave in a mountain. Nevertheless, although all his property was taken and he was thrown into a cave, Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. The thing is, Bali Maharaj told the Lord to put his third step on his head. So why was he... Anyways. Nunam Vatayam Bhagavan Arteshu Nanishnato Yosav Indro Yasya Sachivo Mantraya Vrita Ekantato Brihaspatis Tam Atihaya Swayam Upendrenatmanam Ayat Manash Chashisho No Eva Tar Dasyam Ati Gambhira Vayasa Kalasya Manvantara Parivritam Kiyal Loka Trayam Idam. Alas, how pitiable it is for Indra, the king of heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brihaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Brihaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking me for alms to gain the three worlds for his sense gratification. Sovereignty over the three worlds is very insignificant, because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of endless time. Purport. Bali Maharaj was so powerful that he fought with Indra and took possession of the three worlds. Indra was certainly very advanced in knowledge, but instead of asking Vamandev for engagement in his service, he used the Lord to beg for material possessions that would lie finished at the end of one age of Manu. An age of Manu, which is the duration of Manu's life, is calculated to last 72 yugas. One yuga consists of 4,300,000 years, and therefore the duration of Manu's life is 309,600,000 years. The demigods possess their material opulence only until the end of the life of Manu. Time is insurmountable. The time one is allotted, even if it be millions of years, is quickly gone. The demigods own their material possessions only within the limits of time. Therefore, Bali Maharaj lamented that although Indra was very learned, he did not know how to use his intelligence properly, for instead of asking Vamandev to allow him to engage in his service, Indra used him to beg Bali Maharaj for material wealth. Although Indra was learned and his prime minister Brihaspati was also learned, neither of them begged to be able to render loving service to Lord Vamandev. Therefore, Bali Maharaj lamented for Indra. Yasyanu dasyam evasmat pita maha kila vavre natu swapitriam yad utakuto bhayam padam diyamanam bhagavata param iti bhagavato parate kalu swapitari. Bali Maharaj said, "My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad's father Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev wanted to offer Prahlad his father's kingdom and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage. But Prahlad accepted neither. Liberation and material opulence, he thought, are obstacles to devotional service, and therefore such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not his actual mercy. Consequently, instead of accepting the results of karma and gyan, Prahlad Maharaj simply begs the Lord for engagement in the service of his servant." Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed that an unalloyed devotee should consider himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. Gopi Bhartu Padakamayor Dasa Dasanu Dasaha. In Vaishnava philosophy, one should not even become a direct servant. Prahlad Maharaj was offered all the blessings of an opulent position in the material world, and even the liberation of merging into Brahman. But he refused all this. He simply wanted to engage in the service of the servant of the Lord. He simply wanted to engage in the service of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Therefore, Bali Maharaj said that because his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, had rejected the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of material opulence and liberation from material bondage, he truly understood his self-interests. Tasya mahanubhavasyanupatam amrijita kashaya ko vasmar vidha parihina bhagavar anugraha upajigamishatiti. Bali Maharaj said, persons like us who are still attached to material enjoyment, who are contaminated by the modes of material nature, and who lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. Purport. It is said that for spiritual realization, one must follow great personalities like Lord Brahma, Devarshi Narad, Lord Shiva, and Prahlad Maharaj. The path of bhakti is not at all difficult if we follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas and authorities. But those who are too materially contaminated by the modes of material nature cannot follow them. Although Bali Maharaj was actually following the path of his grandfather, because of his great humility, he thought that he was not. It is characteristic of advanced Vaishnavas following the principles of bhakti that they think themselves ordinary human beings. This is not an artificial exhibition of humility. A Vaishnav sincerely thinks this way, and therefore never admits his exalted position. Tasyanu charitam uparishtad vistarishyate yasya bhagavan swayam akila jagar gurur narayana dvari gada panir avatishtate nija jananukampita hridayo yenam gushtena pada dasha kandaro yojanayutayutam digvijaya uchatita. Shukadev Goswami continued, my dear king, how shall I glorify the character of Bali Maharaj? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the three worlds, who is most compassionate to his own devotee, stands with club in hand at Bali Maharaj's door. When Ravan, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamandev kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles with his big toe. I shall explain the character and activities of Bali Maharaj later in the 8th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Tato dastat talatale mayo nama danavendras tri puradipatir bhagavata purarina triloki sham chikirshuna nirdagdha swapuratrayas tat prasadal labdha pado maya vinam acharyo mahadevena parirakshito vigata sudarshana bhayo mahiyate. Beneath the planet known as Sutala is another planet called Talatal, which is ruled by the Danava demon named Maya. Maya is known as the Acharya, the master of all the Mayavis. The Mayavis are those who can invoke the powers of sorcery. For the benefit of the three worlds, Lord Shiva, who is known as Tripurari, once set fire to the three kingdoms of Maya, but later, being pleased with him, he returned his kingdom. Since that time, Maya Danava has been protected by Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely thinks that he need not fear the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maya Danava? But Maya Danava was in... okay, I guess Anyways, whatever, I'm confused, because we just read about Mayadhanava's place. Anyways, I'll look that up. Tato dastan mahatale kadraveyanam sarpanam naika shirsam krodha vasho nama gana kuhaka takshaka kaliya shushenadi pradhana mahabhogavanta patatri rajadipate purusha vahad anavaratam udvijamana swakalatrapatya suhrit kutumba sangena kvachit pramata viharanti. The planetary system known as Talatal is known as Mahatal. It is the abode of many hooded snakes, descendants of Kadru, who are always very angry. The great snakes who are prominent are Kuhaka, Takshaka, Kaliya, and Sushena. The snakes in Mahatal are always disturbed by fear of Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. But although they are full of anxiety, some of them nevertheless sport with their wives, children, friends, and relatives. Purport. It is stated here that the snakes who live in the planetary system known as Mahatal are very powerful and have many hoods. They live with their wives and children and consider themselves very happy. Although they are always full of anxiety because of Garuda, who comes there to destroy them, this is the way of material life. Even if one lives in the most abominable condition, he still thinks himself happy with his wife, children, friends, and relatives. Tato dastar rasatale daiteya danava panayo nama nivata kavacha kaleya hiranya puravasina iti vibhuda pratyanika utpatya mahojaso mahasahasino bhagavata sakala lokanubhavasya harer eva tejasa pratihata bala valepa bileshaya iva vasanti yevai saramayendra dutya vagbhir mantra varnabhir indrad bibhyati. Beneath Mahatal is the planetary system known as Rasatal, which is the abode of the demoniac sons of Diti and Danu. They are called Panis, Nivata Kavachas, Kalayas, and Hiranyapuravasis, those living in Hiranyapur. They are all enemies of the demigods, and they reside in holes like snakes. From birth, they are extremely powerful and cruel, and although they are proud of their strength, they are always defeated by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who rules all the planetary systems. When a female messenger from Indra named Sarama chants a particular curse, the serpentine demons of Mahatal become very afraid of Indra. Purport. It is said that there was a great fight between these serpentine demons and Indra, the king of heaven. When the defeated demons met the female messenger Sarama, who was chanting a mantra, they became afraid, and therefore they are living in the planets called Rasatal. I think this is the last verse. Yes, it is. Okay. Tatos dastat patale nagaloka patayo vasuki pramukha shanka kulika mahashanka sweta dhananjaya dhritarashtra shankachura kambalashvatara devadattayo mahabhogino mahamarsha nivasanti yesham uhavai pancha sapta dasha shata sahasra shirshanam Panasu virachita maha manayo rochishnava patala vivara timira nikaram swarochisha vidhamanti. Beneath Rasatal is another planetary system known as Patal or Nagaloka, where there are many demoniac serpents, the masters of Nagaloka. such as Shanka, Kulika, Mahashanka, Shweta, Dhananjaya, Dhritarashtra, Shankachuda, Kambala, Ashvatara, and Devadatta. The chief among them is Vasuki. They are all extremely angry, and they have many, many hoods. Some snakes 5 hoods, some 7, some 10, and others 100, and others 1,000. These hoods are bedecked with valuable gems, and the light emanating from the gems illuminates the entire planetary system of Vilaswarga. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th canto, 24th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Subterranean Heavenly Planets. So the next chapter, chapter 25, we'll hear the glories of Lord Ananta. And then finally, we will end with the hellish planets. It's the most exciting, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not, but yeah, it's really fun. Okay. Let's just see. I'm just curious how many more days we have of reading. So we only have chapter 25 and chapter 26. Chapter 25 is only 4,630 words. So finish chapter 25 tomorrow. And chapter 26 is 13,000 words. So we could either finish this in 3 days or in 4 days. We can do let's do it in 4 days. Yeah, all right. Cool. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. That was a message from Rup Manjari Didi. She said that today is the birthday of the snakes and Garuda and Aruna. It's Garuda Panchami, Naga Panchami, and Aruna Panchami. And we mentioned all of them today. So wow, is that a coincidence that we read that chapter on this day? Yeah, that's really neat. We got to honor them on their appearance day. That's great. All the snakes and Garuda and Aruna. Awesome. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari. Right. Oh, there's so many comments I want to read here. But anyways, I'm just going to do Jai now. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shara Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanantari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Shri Hairas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि वो। बलि महाराज की जाय। गुरुदेव की जाय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम श्री शिव की जाय। शिव पार्वती की जाय। Who else is there that's special? Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Shesh ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams. Alright, see you all tomorrow. What glories of Ananta. Hari Bo.